Hello there, Sarah from 17 once again, introducing you to my Dark Souls video walkthrough. We are currently in Anor Londo. We're making our first virgin steps into this new... I'm not going to call it a principality because I don't know enough about Anor Londo to see whether or not it constitutes itself to be such. So I'm just going to call it this pretty awesome looking castle town place. And these are some of the sentinel enemies that have an extremely low aggro range unless you're speaking of the ones outside the main cathedral or whatever that main building is, the main castle. These guys don't aggro until you get really close, but the joy of them is if you've got a good weapon to two-hand and you're good at timing your rolls, unlike I did just then, you can kill these guys pretty quick. Magic does work on them, especially when you can get the side of the shield. It's just the detection on this enemy is a nuisance because his shield blocks things it shouldn't block. Some of his attacks have got ridiculous, areas of effect. There's times when he'll swing his mace, his staff, or whatever the hell it is. It'll completely miss you, and for some reason you'll still take damage. It's like phantom hits. It's pretty stupid, but these are the only enemy that I have too much trouble with when it comes to that kind of stuff, because the skeletons in the catacombs die so quick. You don't really have to worry about that. But this is your first bonfire after entering. It's just on your first left here. You're also going to get introduced to the Darkmoon firekeeper, who is this lady over here. I assume it's a lady. You never know with Dark Souls, especially when Gwendolyn's concerned. But got a couple of souls, so I'm going to pop a few into vitality and a couple into endurance. My main logic behind that decision is they are the two stats you should be pumping from a very early start. The only reason I haven't is because of this weapon, and I've already explained those reasons. But we're going to be dealing with the Anor Londo archers, and these guys are... God, the first time through the game for most people, these people are a nightmare. It's just bullshit. It's a very cheeky piece of game design, and it's one of the things that contributes to the difficulty scale of the game, but at the same time it's an unfair difficulty, these ones. I don't believe these to be a legitimate challenge. I just believe them to be an effort in frustration, really. The more you do it, the easier it does get, but you can still get caught, because the Dragon Slayer bow, its radius and its knockback are just silly. It really shouldn't do what it does, but, this is Dark Souls and it does exactly what it does. So the chest on the right is a different colour and the chain is pointing towards us, which means it's a mimic. You'll notice I struck the other chest before. That is also a valid way of finding out whether or not it's a mimic, but the chain is equally as useful. I just forget sometimes which way it's supposed to point for it to be good and bad, so I'll just smack it for the hell of it. And there's a lot of things like that on this game that I can't commit to memory. Like, subconsciously, I think I know where all the mimics are, but I still sometimes smack a chest just in case. And it's just like the embers. I've picked up all the embers numerous times, but I can't for the life of me remember which ones are where. I know a few of them, but some of them are just like, well, there's an ember here. Don't know which one it is, but it's definitely here. Now, these are the annoying elevators of Anor Londo. I was trying to run and jump then to see if I could leap over the balcony, which I'm pretty sure you can do, but you'll take damage because it's quite the fall. And this is a familiar face. So you'll notice on the tower where the first bell was, when you climbed up it, that you killed 2 gargoyles, but there was also 2 more statues on that tower, and I believe that these 2 gargoyles in Anor Londo are those statues. Because when I looked with my binoculars from Sen's Fortress, I couldn't see the statues anymore, so a really, really cool eye for detail this game has in its progression. I love it. Be very careful walking up this spire, because when the camera goes through these arches, it actually physically interacts with the graphics and it moves the camera, and it can cause all sorts of deaths that you should not have had. Similarly to this balcony we're about to step on, when you're walking across these rafters, if you go near some of the structures that are holding the rafters up, the camera will interact with them and it'll throw your camera into a loop, and sometimes when you're pointing forwards and the camera gets thrown to the side, you might walk in a different direction and fall. So be very, very careful. These are do you see the pillar that leads up to that support? those are the things that actually touch the camera. So always try to be careful when you're walking past them, because you never know when it's going to affect them. It's super gay. So that guy either likes suicide or he does not understand the limits of his jump, so he ends up falling off. Keep your shield up when you're moving, even though I had it up then, I thought, and I didn't, and that guy clipped me with a knife. Because there's a couple of these guys, and one thing to note, be very careful when they're dying in front of you. If you try to walk past them, sometimes there's still a physical presence of their body as they're dying, and it's almost like an invisible barrier. And if you push too far towards it, it can push you off. Happened to me plenty of times. Be very careful. And then once you go outside this room, we're going to be twisting the central pivot of the bridge, and we're going to be fighting another gargoyle. And you can actually do a drop attack on this gargoyle, and I think it kills him, because this weapon's so stupidly powerful. But he doesn't attack you on this section, he attacks you as you're lowering it. So when it goes to the full lower area, I think he walks up the stairs. But you'll just see a bunch of wings clipping through the scenery. That's how you can generally tell he's there. So there he is. He drops down by accident trying to attack me, and then I do a two-handed falling attack which does 984 damage. And the second attack kills him, because you'll notice not only did it do a lot of damage, but it staggered him because the hit was so powerful. And the gargoyle was no more. But if you're still using the lightning spear is really good against the gargoyles. They don't like lightning. If you're using the ascended pyromancy glove, that's going to do a lot of damage anyway, because it's just that good. But if you're using the Drake sword, or if you're using a custom sword that you like and you've upgraded a little bit, it might be worth putting a gold pine resin on your weapon to fight those guys, because it's going to give you a much better advantage. If you're a spellcaster, you don't really have too much to worry about, because you can just evade them and hit them with spells. Like, I believe you can get Soul Spear at this point in the game if you free Logan from Sen's Fortress, so you'll be set with that spell. That spell's really powerful if you've got high intelligence. But once again, I find myself swimming in souls. The power of the Dark Souls. I embrace it. Oh, I used to love that game. And I bet if I went back and played it, it'd be absolute trash now, because at the time it got kind of panned in reviews. And if anybody knows what it is without googling the quote, good on you, sir. You are quite the cultured gamer. And I don't know, I thought that it was dark, it was interesting, it was kind of mature, even though if you play it now, it probably isn't. It probably got silly writing and all that good stuff. But any game that has you actively hunting serial killers is a cool game in my mind. And I'm not talking like those CSI games where you run around fucking clicking on stuff and licking stamps. I'm on about full-on searching for Jack the Ripper in the London Underground and stuff like that. That game was amazing. But now that we've turned the bridge after visiting the Darkmoon tomb, which is another bonfire. Also, if you kill Guinevere after you beat Ornstein and Smo, that statue of Gwyn will actually disappear and you can go and kill Gwendolyn. But if you don't want to turn Anor Londo dark, you have to get the Seance ring from in the catacombs. And I know a lot of new people are just listening like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Because you don't know what any of that means. Your best friend is the wikis. They will teach you things. Just wiki these items and it will help you. And, I don't think I picked the ring up in the catacombs, because I go through the catacombs with a lot of shortcuts that I know. So yeah, it's probably a benefit to check some wikis if you're really interested in finding things in Dark Souls. But there is my souls, so you can tell immediately that I've edited out another death. And this was actually a bullshit one. To my left is a walkway, which is kind of like the ones we're about to go onto, and you'll notice it's got a couple of railings at either side, and you've got to either be unlucky, lagging, or really try to fall off these railings. It's not like you can run into them and fall off. It's one of those things where you have to try, because they do generally safeguard you. And for some reason I was in my equipment menu on this walkway I'm on right now, only much further up, and I got hit by a Dragon Slayer arrow, which knocked me off the platform from these douchebags. Not cool. But be careful if you run past the imps, they will throw lightning at you, as I just found out. But these guys, if you have got the fog ring, you can go up here much easier, but you don't need it, as I'm proving. If you just bum rush it, run as fast as you can, go directly over to the guy on the right and do not back up. The other archer cannot hit you from this position, and then this dude will either swing and knock himself off, or you might have to time a parry. Sometimes in the confusion you can get around the other side of him and you don't have to fight him, but the best thing to do is just time the parry. It's so much simpler. The other archer is guarding a soul of a great hero, I think, or just a soul of a hero. It's a pretty big investment of souls, so it is well worth getting. But I'm not interested in souls on this playthrough, guys. I just want to help new people get through the game with some wicked efficiency. So run into here, hit this bonfire, and you've done one of the most frustrating parts of the game. So thanks for watching, I hope it's helping, and you take care now.